I took this off, and these snap rings have little holes in there. If you can't see them, you need a wire brush. Brush it off, and then you can see them just fine. So when you take the snap ring off, get your snap ring pliers, and make sure you've got your jaws on the right way around, so that when you squeeze it, it goes in the right direction. These are going in the wrong direction for this ring, so I'll switch that around and then take the ring off. Sort of help remember which way these go on. Onto there. Got these little tags. You just tie them around stuff. Right on them. And then you know which one you did first. Alright. Now she moves. There we go. That's good. Just need to clean up all the rust and clean it up with new grease. Alrighty. Okay, problem. I don't know if it's really easy to see on the video, but the frame that's underneath this portion isn't touching. And so I have to come up with a plan to fix that. So what I got are these U-nuts. You might call them J-nuts, but since the sides are equal on both sides, it looks more like a U to me, so I'm going to call it a U-nut. What it does is it clips over the edge of a piece of sheet metal or steel or whatever, and goes into the hole. And you can use a regular screw to put it in here. This is a M4.2 sized hole, and I got the matching screw. They're fairly common in a lot of cars for panel fastening and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is on the other side, I'm going to match drill a hole the right size to here. Put this on the frame, screw it together, draw the two pieces together, and then hopefully it'll be close enough to put in the spot welds on the other places, and then I can remove the screw and then finally put the spot weld there. One thing that I gotta do is to get these out. I don't know how, it's really hard to see, but there's a little hoop of metal here that's stamped into the hole, and when you slide this on, that hoop goes into the hole in the metal and prevents this from coming back out. Well, that's not going to really work for me, as I won't be able to access this tab because this surface is going to be sandwiched between the frame and the bottom side of the panel. So normally what you do to get this off is, see that little hoop there, you it doesn't want to focus on this, such a tiny part, but the little hoop in the middle, you get a small pick or screwdriver or whatever, and you lift that up, and that brings this wire out of the hole, and then you can slide it off. I won't be able to access that because that will be between two pieces of metal underside the car, and I won't be able to reach it. So what I'm going to do, modify these things, remove that piece of metal, and then there won't be any retention feature, but I'm not going to permanently install this anyway, so that's not going to be a problem. I'll be able to slide this in, screw it together, and then it should slide right off because that retention tab is not going to be there. I'm going to pull it out. So let's get that done. Okay, let's see if we can get some good light. Alright, so I got enough in on this side, and on this side I got a few. I had to hammer these into place. A little bit of tweaking of the metal. never hurt anybody, but we'll put that in there. Now I can take this out before it gets permanently welded in place. And I'll have that hole too. So we're making progress. Spoiler alert. It's worked, so love it when a plan comes together. Okay, we're under the car here. I can't get back far enough to see what I'm doing either. But here we're back on the passenger side. So you can orientate yourself there. You can see I've got this gap. It's a gap front and back, and I did that right at the moment because if you go down here, there's this little piece I gotta somehow get out of here. So I purposely bent these apart a little bit so I could try to get this little sliver out, because I don't want to cut any more into this flange on this piece. So I'm gonna work this little piece out, then I'm gonna do the body work to pound them back to where they're supposed to be. Otherwise, you know, that's why you're seeing this gap. Is I did that on purpose. Sometimes I do things on purpose that make sense, and sometimes I don't. But in this instance, I had a reason to bump this out so I could get this piece off, and so we're going to do that. All right, here we go. Put a strip of metal in a big gap, close it up. Welded one side. I'm going to grind off the excess because now I got metal in there. It's a lot easier to fill it with the sideways sliver of metal than it was to try to cut a very thin strip and kind of hold it in there. So this is just easier. So that's what I do. Put the metal in sideways to fill in the gap, and I'll grind it down, and then I can weld the other side together. I'll do that, but there she is. Not the prettiest welds in the world, but they'll do. Damn it. Keep blowing the same damn hole in the same spot, and it keeps starting on fire. I gotta figure that out. There's probably some oil on the other side or some sealant or something. But it's a good clue that it's time to quit for a while. I'm just getting frustrated to keep patching the same damn hole. So, well, that's it for today. Oh, there's the hole. But I'm looking, and I was having large flames, and I think it's hard to see here, but maybe you can see right here. There's this underbody coating that just goes up in flames. So I'm gonna remove some of that and see if I can't not start things on fire. The good news is the undercoating on the underside of the car was what was causing the flaming issue. Also good news, this grinder wheel takes it off pretty good, except as you can see it doesn't really grind it away, more as just get gummed up on it. So if you got a long bit to do on your project, maybe stock up on a handful of these, because it's pretty much ruined. You can't get this off. It's stuck onto the disc now. At least it's not stuck to the underside of the car, but yeah, this one's junk. Probably should buy a few more of those while I go get the persuader hammer. Okay, so on this other side, there's this bracket right there. So in order to miss that, I'm gonna cut this section out from underneath the car, and we'll see how that goes. I'll cut it out from maybe right at the end of the bracket to over here into this section, and then I should be able to cut it from the top again. But I want to just get past that bracket so I don't have to put the bracket back on or cut through the bracket or do anything regarding that bracket. I'll take care of it under here, but I need all my hands for that. So I'm going to put the light off and the camera down. Yeah, there we go. I just cut that off. It's not all the way through. There's some spots that are not quite all the way through, but it's good enough on this side. I can connect the dots on the other side and then push these two pieces closer together and not get close to the bracket like I did on this other side. I got way too close to the bracket. But you live and you learn. You don't do that. Check the brackets on the back side before you start cutting from the top side. That's what. Alright, I'm going to stop right here for a minute, because up at this end, that piece isn't even close to where it's supposed to go. So I got to figure out what over in this corner is preventing me from getting all the way down. And I got to do some body work to get that down to where it's supposed to be before I go ahead and finish going too far, because I left myself plenty of room to make adjustments along the tunnel here. But if I continue on down the tunnel, that leaves me less room to play around on this end. And I want to make sure I get this end all the way down on that frame that you'll see in the picture over here. Maybe if I scooch over, we'll put over here. So I'll get that figured out, cut out, reshaped. I might need to get myself a big persuader. I had one, don't know where it went since we moved. Might have to go get another one. But you know, I gotta go get a new tool. That can't be the worst part of the day. Bonus for today. So I got the air cleaner from the engine. This is the old one, so it is pretty dirty. But it has this. The cover is cheap plastic and is, you know, not the best. It has cracks and all kinds of stuff in it. So I'm not going to use it. What I am going to do, I still need something to do this. Go from here to the air cleaner, obviously, because this don't work. So what I did is I modeled everything up in CAD, and then made this. Well, obviously, there were several issues with the 3D print. One, I had to plastic weld it together because it didn't stick together with glue, so I had to weld it together. So it's got these areas where it's not good. I can paint it, but it's just brittle as all get out. And I don't want that sitting on top of my engine. So came up with plan B. Going back way to school, when I did a development, once I had the CAD model, it's called a development. And what you do is you take flat shapes and you lay it out in such a way that you can fold and bend the flat shapes into the shape you need. So what I did is I got some of this, I call it poster board, but it's this very kind of thin cardboard, really thick paper material. Poster board, cardstock, I don't know, whatever you call it, wherever you live. It's very thin, but it can hold its shape a little bit, unlike paper. So it can kind of hold its shape a little bit. I put a big sheet of that, couple of sheets of that on my laser printer, laser engraver, and after some trial and error, I came up with this piece. So I got the bottom, and it will also work for the top if I just not cut out the center hole bit, you know, just put the correct hole in the top part. So I got the top, bottom. So I'm going to cut this apart. I'm going to get some sheet steel, trace these as a pattern, cut, slightly bend, weld, and I will have a metal version of this. And that's going to be my air cleaner. I have this little cutout for this. I don't know what this is. It's a vacuum line, probably part of the choke or something. I haven't really figured this carburetor out yet, but if you know exactly what it is, you can tell me in the comments. But this carburetor came off of my engine that I got from my other project car, but it's the only one that I had off of the motor. I'm not bringing the whole motor inside to just show you this video of what I did this afternoon, but so there's that. That sits on there. This will go on there, like so. And then the official housing, when I get that made, goes on top. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.